Okay, so we got the SM-8 wall unit from Springtree. So very excited to see what's inside this box. Alright, we have this bracket here so we can set it on the wall. Okay, and DC adapter. Okay, so the question. Yep, CETLUS. There you go. Alright, so we're good with that, because that's always a question that's being asked. Alright, what do we have here? A couple of mounting screws. That's great. And we have the unit itself. So the idea is to be able to put some presets inside these buttons so that we can just walk in the room and recall some presets and not have to take programming lessons on a full-size console. Alright, so let's see how that works. What's cool about this thing is that there's a code right here that you can actually scan. So now all I have to do is open up my camera, scan this thing, and that will take me to the Springtree product site, on which there are all the installation information and product manual and all that. So that is really cool. I'm not going to get into that right now because I pretty much know this off the top of my head, but it's nice to know that you have all your resources right in that code here. So let's turn this thing around and see what's what here. So we have a DMX in, DMX out, DC in, and a ground. I'm not going to get into the installation instructions, but I do want to try this thing out to see how well it works. So I will hook it up. I'm going to do the ghetto fix here to get this thing working. I got some cables here that I prepared. I took a cheap XLR3, whatever, so that I'm going to set one up, hook it up to the console, and then hook this one up to a light, some kind of a house light that I've got rigged up to my ceiling here, and we'll see how well this gets programmed. One thing I did not mention earlier is this Ethernet port here. So what this does is it allows you to communicate with either a wired base or to the other satellite stations. So you can actually daisy chain satellite stations that report to this one. So this is very handy if you want to install other control panels like this elsewhere in your room. Then all you have to do is connect this Ethernet cable to the satellite stations and then daisy chain as many as you want, and they'll get power, and they'll also send the instructions to this controller, which will send the instructions to your lights. Now we need to set power to this. I'll plug this thing. Right. Boom. Oh, look at that. We have power. Great. Okay, so I got me one of those fancy DMX light controllers right here, like you find in just about any venue. So I've got a house light that's hooked up there, and I've got basically just 3 cues that that'll do the job for now. So I got, let's say, house lights at full, house lights at 50, and maybe a nice little blue ambience. So I'd like to put those 3 presets in my panel here. So first thing I need to do is connect the console, and connect the console to the input of this wall switch here, and then the output of this going to the light. So now what I need to do is put this thing in program mode so that I can actually play back my scenes and record them to the memories. So let's see how we go about that. Okay, so now I have a DMX console connected to this board, and I have the board connected to the light. So technically this thing should be in bypass mode since it detected DMX coming from the console. And we can verify that by playing back the cues from the console. As you can see, my light is acting and this panel is technically deactivated, which is fine because what we want to do now is program. So I got the instructions up here. It's basically 7 lines. It's pretty simple. So it says you want to enter program mode to be able to set up a scene. So you hit 1 and 8 simultaneously, and I have a red light that lights up. So when that red light is up, that means that it is in program mode and it's waiting for me to give it instructions. If that light had been green, it would have meant that I don't have any signal coming from the console. And, you know, just for the heck of it, if I remove the console, oh, well, there you go. This thing is intelligent. Alright, plug the console back in and play back my first scene, which is basically house lights at full. Stick that in button number 1, and apparently that's done. Play back my second scene. I want to put that in button number 2. Yeah. And then play back my third scene. Put back that in button number 3. And we're done programming those scenes. I repeat until all the scenes are recorded, and then hold down 1 and 8 simultaneously to get out of programming mode. Bingo. Alright, so basically if I hit a playback, nothing happens because it's detecting DMX coming from the console. So let's just get rid of the console then. Okay, so basically scene number 1 is in there. If I want to go to scene number 2, I hit number 2, and there you go. That's my second cue. My lights go to half. Fine. Then let's say I want to bring in my third scene, and that third scene actually comes in. Now I realize that if I hit that again, it doesn't go to black necessarily. I can't turn it on or off. I can just execute it. Which means, theoretically, that I would have to record a scene with all lights at 0 if I want to have all lights at 0. So let's do that. Plug it back in. Alright. And play back scene number nothing. Just 0 DMX output. So I'll hit 1 and 8 at the same time, go back into programming mode, and then hit scene number 4, and then hit 1 to 8 again to get out of programming mode. Unplug the console. Alright, here we go. Scene number 1, scene number 2, that's nice, scene number 3, that's nice, and scene number 4 goes to dark. Look at that. Pretty simple. Now, of course, there's sort of a dimming thing. It seems to be happening in 1 second. It would be nice that if I go from one scene to another that I have a different timing. What I need to do now is if I want to change the timing between the scenes, I have basically a choice between 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, or no seconds at all for instant replay. So I'll hit 2 and 7 at the same time until that yellow light comes on. There we go. And let's say I want maximum fade time, which is 4 seconds. There we go. Then I hit 2 and 7 again to come out of there. Alright, so now if I want to play scene number 1, it will fade in 4 seconds. That's right. So if I want to go to scene number 2, which is house lights at half, that'll fade in 4 seconds too. And normally the cue that follows after that is house lights at 0. Hit that again, and we're fading out in 4 seconds. There we go. That's simple.